Parents, please pay attention to what I want to tell you right now. As parents, you must be intentional about what I'm about to tell you right now. Be very careful what you do before your children. Be intentional about it. Now, let me tell you something. Do you know that when you start shouting at your husband or shouting at your wife before your children, do you know the picture you are painting in the mind of those children? You never can tell. Many parents are not careful enough in this aspect. The man can just stand up and start shouting at the wife before the children. You don't know you are destroying the mindset of those children about marriage, because they learn first from you before they go to school to go and learn. So never shout at your wife or shout at your husband before your children. If you are doing this, you are creating a negative path for them when it comes to marriage tomorrow. Many of us today, our marriage is not working because we are products of our parent failed marriage. That's it. Because what you copy from your father, you tend to use it to run your own home, and it's never going to work because you see your father always beating up your mom, or you see your mom always insulting your father. So if you grew up with that mindset, you will never understand the values of marriage. So as parents, never shout at your wife before your children. Never shout at your husband before your children. And also, one of the things that you must always do, even if you want to quarrel, make sure your children are not there. Make sure they are not part of the issues that is between you and your wife. Let it be that the issue is between you and your wife. Don't try to bring your children in. That's why wise parents, whenever they're having issues, once their children are around, they pretend to be happy. They pretend to be smiling. All right. Even if they are not happy, for the health of their children, they will be smiling and they will be happy. Why? Because they are trying to create an atmosphere for these kids. And as a matter of fact, I think what we should do as parents is we should always learn to play together. And as you are doing that, you are creating an atmosphere for these children tomorrow. They will begin to love to marry. Now, let me show you something. We were to add a skit some years ago with my wife, and in that skit, my position was to shout at my wife. I've never done that before, to shout at my wife. All right. So in that skit, I had to shout at her, and my 4-year-old boy was there. As we were acting, I was just shouting, "Leave here, get out of here!" All of a sudden, my 4-year-old boy started crying. He was crying seriously because he has never seen me shout at my wife before. So it was a shocker to him. It was a shocker to him. So he was crying. So we have to beg him and tell him, no, it's just a skit. We are just trying to act him. He didn't believe. It took us 2 weeks to convince him that we were just joking. It took us 2 weeks to convince our child that we were just joking. It was a skit. Just imagine the mindset of children who stand and their father is beating up their mother. Just imagine the mindset of children who sat and their mother is insulting their father. Please, as parents, let's be very careful of the kind of future we are creating into these children. Let's be intentional. Let's be intentional. I believe I've been able to bless somebody with this nugget. Please go ahead and share. Bless somebody else, and God bless you. Shalom and shalom.